Welcome to this first iteration of For Your Knowledge Friday. Today we're going to be discussing how I was able to land a very lucrative consulting internship with absolutely zero experience. The path that I took towards landing this internship was definitely not normal, not the usual way that most people go about it. And I will say that it has come down to one major thing, and that's simply networking. Networking will completely kind of change your perspective and approach once you understand how to do it and how to properly communicate, what you can bring forth and what value you can create for somebody. Then the opportunities just become limitless. So I sent in over 120 intern applications over the course of about 6.5 months last year. I got 4 responses and 1 offer for an interview. Did not get the job in that one interview, and I was absolutely devastated. I was sitting there, I had no clue what to do. I felt so lost. I felt like all these kids who I know in college were all advancing so much farther than me. These guys all had all these amazing internships and all this experience, and I was just kind of sitting here with nothing as a junior, getting ready to kind of go into my senior year, really feeling lost because I had not, had any experience. And I feel like I've worked pretty hard at that point, to try and get that experience, and it just wasn't coming. But at the end of the day, it really came down to networking. So I emailed multiple different managing directors at a ton of different firms, eventually got in contact with one of them. Actually, it was a local firm to where I lived, so it was pretty easy to get in touch and sit down for a quick coffee chat with one of the directors there. And it's not like I received an offer for an interview or anything right away, right? Like, I didn't really go into it expecting that either. I just wanted to get to know this individual and what the company was all about and a little bit about the industry. And at the end of the day, that we had exchanged contact information, obviously. So we had known about each other. And then kind of out of the blue last second, he texted me and he's like, "Hey, we have an internship position opening up, send in your application." So I did that, went through the process, and eventually got the nod to go in, and I got the internship. Because at the end of the day, really, it just comes down to human nature. People who know other people or have somebody in mind who they've previously discussed that they know could possibly solve this problem, their mind's going to go there first. When you look at 2 candidates, let's say, one of them has a perfect 4.0 GPA, has hits all the marks, right? But that person has never connected with this actual hiring manager, right? Whereas you have somebody who asked the hiring manager, "Hey, let's go out, have a quick cup of coffee, get to know one another." Even if you're not sitting there like genuinely digging into the deep nitty gritty details of what you offer, that person still is going to have prior knowledge of you, and you're going to come to mind before that other applicant who they've never met in their life. No matter how, accredited you may be, no matter what your GPA may be, doesn't matter at the end of the day. Genuine human connection is going to draw that individual in your direction 9 times out of 10. So it's going to take some work. It's definitely not easy, but at the end of the day, it's all about kind of getting uncomfortable. I'm a firm believer that you have to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. It's not something that's just straight, very, cut and dry, laid out for you, right? Like, it's something that you have to actively go out and search for in terms of making these connections and truly networking. You can't sit behind a computer screen all day and submit applications and expect to be in the same standing as somebody who's actually out, meeting people and making genuine face-to-face interactions. Because with given how digital our world is today, it's so easy to hide behind a screen, essentially, and feel like you're genuinely doing something and making change. But at the end of the day, it's really all about being in person. So let's get one thing straight here. When it comes to networking, many people have the approach that they're trying to sell a lot of these credentials that they've garnered and whatnot. They think that that's how networking works. In reality, it's just finding commonalities with people and just genuinely being able to connect with somebody. It doesn't, as so much come down to like, "Oh, I have this credential, I did this, I can build out this model in Excel." At the end of the day, it's great to have those skills and those abilities, but it's also just as important, if not more important, to just genuinely be a likable and good person. Being able to work on a team and actually communicate with others is absolutely essential. Like I said, you can be the single best financial modeler in Excel or at any practice, whatever hard skills are required for whatever job that you're applying to, you could be the absolute best in that. But at the end of the day, if you can't genuinely work with somebody well and just have real, raw interactions, it's not going to work out. So, your number one priority as you're seeking a job or seeking an internship has to be your soft skills. You have to be able to communicate, and you have to acquire those quote unquote intangibles, those things that people can't really put an exact value on. You kind of have it or you don't. And there's no real cut and dry courses or classes that you can take that you're just going to automatically have these soft skills. It's something that you have to work at and build, and it's going to be different on an individual basis. So there's a lot of unknown that comes with it, which is extremely difficult, and it's scary for a lot of people. And those are the reasons why they don't develop those skills and ultimately don't end up being where they want to be. So at the end of the day, you kind of just have to go about it as a learning process, because you're not going to know everything. You're not going to have these skills right away. And they're not, even if you do, they're not going to be as honed in or as sharpened as they could be if you actually took the time to step back and work on it and improve them and improve yourself. So at the end of the day, it really just comes down to your soft skills and your ability to go out and work hard. And that's truly what the differentiator is. And that's what allows individuals like me to get experience and open doors that would not originally be available to me unless I had worked on those skills and truly just sat down and worked on making changes. So ultimately, that's really what it comes down to at the end of the day. Hopefully, you guys could take away something from this, and I will catch you guys in the next episode.